Everybody, I am here with a very special guest. Her name is Gail Kasper, and she started off as a motivational speaker and television personality. And now has some inspirations to be what I think is really cool, a ring announcer. And I actually got to do some ring announcing once myself. So we share a common interest in that. And I think it's something that women need to be more into. So we're going to be talking to her about her story. We're going to be talking to her about what she loves, anything that she's overcoming. And of course, we're going to talk to her about this ring announcing stuff. So welcome to the show, Gail. How you doing?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me.
I'm glad you're here. It's when I saw that you wanted to be a ring announcer, I was really excited because I think my dad used to take me to the Hartford Civic Center when I was growing up in Connecticut, and we would watch WWF then. And there was one female ring announcer, and I've never really seen them since. I mean, I didn't know they really existed, but she was really pretty good at it. And it was fun to see that there's a female out there, not just the same guy. And they would switch. One would come out and do one match, and another would come out and do another match. So when I got my chance to get in the ring, it was really fun and kind of, luckily there's only like 200 people there because it's like a little local wrestling match, but still it's intimidating. So I think it's fun that you want to be a ring announcer. So tell me a little bit about yourself. Let's kind of get started.
Okay.
Let's talk, how did you get into being what you're doing now? And how did that lead to where you wanted to be as a ring announcer?
Right. I know it's kind of crazy because I was a manager and a trainer inside a company. So I was just working for a regular company, and I was a really bad manager, meaning I focused a lot on tasks, not on people. And the more I learned about leadership and people and who they are, I fell in love with my staff and fell in love with the idea of helping them achieve their goals. So kind of that led me to move on to a speaking organization where I wanted to be a motivational speaker. That was my big goal, to continue to help people. So I moved on to that, and when I went to college, I had wanted to be a host, like a newscaster. I kind of let that go since I got involved in the business world, and then ended up as a speaker. But when I was working as a speaker, they wanted me to sell their training programs along with speaking. Well, when I was selling the training programs, I came across a company called America's TV Job Network, which was a television show. I went in there to say, hey, can you use a speaker for anything? They said, no, we're a television show. We're actually reformatting our show, and we're looking for television hosts. I've never did that before in my life. Never did that before in my life. But I said, what about me? Which is almost insane to say that, considering I've never been in front of a camera before. Wanted to since I was a kid, but never did it. And they said, well, we need somebody with experience. But I couldn't let it go. For the next 3 months, I sat on their doorstep. And at the end of 3 months, the executive producer pulled me aside and he said, I'm sorry, Gail, we need somebody with experience. We're holding auditions next month or next week. And I said, I'll see you at the auditions. So I went to the auditions, and I was and became the co-host of America's TV Job Network. So that's how I kind of bridged right into the TV world. So I was building my speaking world. I was with a company, had started to go out on my own as a speaker, got this TV gig, was, out in the world doing that. The TV elements started to build, the speaking elements started to build, and my world kind of evolved from there. So I then became an author and a writer, and hence now we're talking about ring announcing. I don't know if you want to jump in and ask any questions because I keep rambling, but.
Actually, I do, because I think this is going to be an important lead into the ring announcing. And that's intimidation. And I know a lot of people are intimidated by things, and therefore they back away, even though they could have been amazing at what they did and what they wanted to do. They didn't do it because they let intimidation get in the way. Speaking in front of people is very intimidating, by far. And then when you get on television and you know that there's at least 200,000 people watching you, that's intimidating. So, that's where people can get a little scared and back away. And then going into ring announcing, you're going to be out in front of screaming drunk people, and you can only imagine what they're going to be saying. So it's fun in itself, but it's also very intimidating as well. So let's talk about intimidation before we jump into that. How did you overcome the intimidation, and how can other people overcome intimidation?
I have a book that's out called Unstoppable, and it refers to something called the systematic attitude development technique. And what that is about getting into logic versus emotion. It's almost like when you get up in the morning and you're like, oh, I don't feel like going to the gym. I don't feel like going to the gym. But then if you go, you end up feeling better about yourself.
That's true.
Or there's things you don't want to do in life. And you're like, but you go and you do it, you feel better about yourself. So Unstoppable and the systematic attitude development technique is all about getting logical. So in other words, what are the things you have to do to be successful? And I've always operated in a place that, okay, it doesn't matter what the fear is inside. It doesn't matter what that emotion is. It's like you have to do it. I've been on my own since I was 19 years old. Um, Moved to California, didn't know anyone, had $2,000 in my pocket, didn't have a place to live, didn't have a car, didn't have a job, didn't know what I was going to do. But you just do. You just move, because movement, no matter what, is going to produce results for you in your life. No matter what. Even if you're like, I don't know which way to go, just go pick a direction. Because ultimately you'll be like, okay, that's either the right direction or you need to switch gears again. So you just want to be constantly moving. The immobilization is what kills you. It stops you, and it's death-defying.
It can be, and that's what bothers me, because I see so many people that are just so talented or just so motivated, but then they get up and it's like, sometimes I wonder if it's being intimidated of being successful. Like they self-sabotage because they are scared of being successful and seeing what's going to happen. It's like, is that possible?
Yeah, oh God. That can be the scariest thing, because sometimes you can start on a certain path and it's going well, but then you just stop the path. Well, what is it that you're afraid of? What stops you? Is it ultimately reaching that level of success? You I can't tell you how many times, even as a speaker, I was hired by like number one security company in the country, Fortune 500 companies. When I first started as a speaker and I'm working for the number one security company in the country, there were times I'm like, okay, any moment now they're going to figure me out and they're going to take me out of here. It's called the imposter syndrome, where you think that, oh my God, somebody's going to figure me out and that I don't know what I'm doing. So, yeah, the intimidation factor is big. The fear of success is big. Fear of failure is the other element that you need to think about.
Yeah, it is. That's true. Now, that kind of leads me into the ring announcing, because you do have to overcome a lot of that intimidation. You have to overcome the ability to get out there and know that I mean, especially with ring announcing, you get one shot at it. Because when you get out there and you screw it up, it's like a pastor doing a wedding. They get one shot at that wedding, and they screwed up. They screwed up. So
Right.
that is something you have to have inside of you, but you don't want to focus on it. So getting out there to be in front of the people and just have fun is probably one of the hardest things, because you know it's a job, but you got to entertain them. You got to get you got to build up the energy for it.
Yeah.
So having that television experience probably helped you with that as well a little bit. So when did you decide, you know what, I want to be I got what it takes. I've overcome all this already. I want to be a ring announcer and I want to try something different.
Right. And it's interesting because I was approached to be a ring announcer. It's just something I never thought of. So when I was approached with that, I'm like, wow. Because first of all, as a speaker, like when I have to write a customized speech, it could be 30 typed pages of notes that I have to memorize.
Mm-hmm.
It's that intense. It could take me 3 months to write this speech, 3 weeks every single day, starting with 8 hours a day of prep. So you're taking all of that and then you have to bring it up in front of a group, because there's so much pressure on you to do that. Now, ring announcing reminds me of those same elements, because meaning there's a lot of upfront preparation. Who are the contenders? What are they about? Where do they come from? What are their successes? Like knowing who they are so that you can speak about them with a level of confidence and excitement that gets the crowd excited about them too. So the preparation for speaking and ring announcing, it matched for me. You don't know a lot of stuff till last minute, like their weight, you know what I'm saying? There's some elements that you may not find out till last minute. You've got to be prepared for that. You have to be able to be flexible, but there is an enormous amount of preparation that goes into it. Then there's the vocal training that goes into it, because you do want to bring like the highs and the lows, and get the crowd excited and get them involved in the process. So what can look so easy and simple really isn't. But if you've got the mindset of discipline and preparation, then you're one step ahead of the game. So
Absolutely.
yeah, but I was asked to do it and I was like, man, I never thought about that. But man, I would be really good. So that's kind of, you know what I mean? Like I just was like, that's a natural fit for me. I should be doing it. So it just one thing like kind of led to the other. And then I put like a demo together, and obviously I'm in the process of marketing myself right now.
That's really cool. I know I got my start by accident because I've actually been kind of involved with a lot of wrestling groups just because I have a lot of friends in the wrestling field. I mean, B. Brian Blair, one of the Killer Bees, and a lot of other uh, former WWE people I got involved with, and that led me to other ones, which got me involved with the local wrestling. And we were at this one particular event, and the announcer couldn't get up there. He like shut down, and we had like 300 people out there, and he's like, "You do it." I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "You do it." So I'm like, I get out there with my little cards, and I got out there, and man, I don't know what happened, but it's like I'm super like shy and scared, and I get out there and I just ripped it out. I was like, "This is cool as hell," you know. And so it was a very fun experience, and I hope you get the opportunity to do it.
Yeah.
Hopefully not put into it like I got thrown into it,
Right.
but
Thrown into it.
a little bit more preparation definitely helps.
Yeah.
But I think you'll have a lot of fun with it. And I know I got to ask you this question. Are you going to run off those ropes and climb those ropes and jump off and do all those crazy things? Because you know you're going to want to.
No, it so reminds me of like gymnastics. I was never a gymnast, so I don't know,
Yeah.
but like springing over the ropes, springing back over them, yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, because once you get in there, it's like you look at these ropes, it's like,
Great,
this is going
great.
to be fun. I'm going to have some fun.
I totally get it.
But I'll tell you the one thing I learned, and I know I'm probably going to get a lot of crap from this, and I'm sorry, but I have to say it. The one mistake I made was going into the men's locker room afterwards. And it's not because of the nudity. It's because of the smell. It was a smell I will never forget.
Oh my God.
See, a lot of these guys are very superstitious, so they don't wash their trousers and their stuff that they wear wrestling. So sometimes they go like months with it, and when they pull that out of that bag, it's like
You don't forget it.
you
Sure.
never forget it.
Yeah.
No, and then when you get about maybe 15 people back there that kind of do the same thing, it's
Mhm.
like,
That's a lot. Oh my
yeah.
God.
Yeah, I mean, men's bathrooms have that stink to them, but a men's locker room that they don't wash their clothes.
Right, it's even worse.
So I'll save your nose. Don't go back in there, and it's not because of nudity or anything like that. It's because
I'll
of smell.
remember that.
Never forget it.
Oh my.
So, tell me a little bit about some of the things you've overcome, because I think that's really important. I love to hear that we are able to overcome things and how we did it and what made you persevere to keep on going so you didn't give up.
Yeah, and I mean, one of the things that stands out in my mind is fighting to be a motivational speaker in men's professional sports and being taken seriously at that level. That started with the NHL, and I was local to Philadelphia, so I was pursuing the Philadelphia Flyers, and I was in their clique and the GM, and I was in with him and hanging out with them, and everything that I could do to build the rapport to get me, in front of the group. But it just didn't happen. It was 2 years of fighting for it. It was knowing that the guys were interested in meeting Michael Jordan and arranging for that to happen. And um, after 2 years being told that I'm a woman, so he couldn't bring a woman in front of the guys. So, like, no matter what I did or how I proved myself, because being in front of a group is mostly rapport. If you've got the relationship, then you've got the rear, which is what you want. But it didn't matter, you know. So from there, I went to pursue the Tampa Bay Lightning, and had gotten in pretty close with the head coach there, who was Jacques Demers at the time. And he had a very progressive mind, open mind about, you know, possibilities in future. And we were talking about some things, and I consulted with him with some things, and then he was let go from the Tampa Bay Lightning, and the same happened with the Pittsburgh Penguins. So it's like it's a revolving door there for coaches, which is tough. As soon as you make way into the door, you kind of don't know what's going to happen with them. But I've built, you know, long-term connections from stuff like that. That has had a positive impact in my life. And you know, those are the things that I really don't forget. You know, the people that you were kind of trying to fight along the way to get something, it didn't go the way that you wanted it to, but you really did have a great return from it. So I mean, that's just one of the things. Just surviving in motivational speaking, oh my God, it's, you're not sitting around and the phone's just ringing for you. You know, you're not Zig Ziglar and Tony Robbins. You're, you know, this little guy that's trying to make a name for yourself. So it's constant evolution to be a known in that business. And I've had, like what I've talked about in other videos, four filing cabinets full of speeches that have totally always been customized, renovated, depending on who the audience was that I was speaking to. There's no easy road, you know. It's being on your own for as long as I have been, and trying to keep a business going, and be revolutionary and be progressive and stay ahead of the Joneses. And now so much is out there with technology, and you're fighting a battle to be seen or heard on social media because, you know, people's platforms are so big. It's just there is no easy road in the process. You've got to accept the fact that it's going to be tough. You want to think smart, you want to have a plan, and you want to work that plan. There's no shortcut around anything. So that's my 2 cents.
Well, you know, you brought up a thing that really kind of shocked me because I guess I've seen both sides of the sex tale of women and men because I've been on both sides. But what I can't grasp is the concept with, like, you know, women are not supposed to be in the ring. Women are not supposed to be in the sports. They're supposed to be with women's sports. And I don't understand the logic behind that. So seeing NFL referees now that are female, and seeing some of these other females breaking into these genres, it's breaking that mentality. And I appreciate that, you know, because it's like, I don't understand why people even have that mentality.
Mhm.
So I don't know. It is frustrating. It's very hard to overcome that.
Yeah, well, when I've watched, because I'm watching a lot more MMA these days, you know, I'm watching fights. Um, there's such a strong, like I'm very intuitive, so and there's such a strong male presence
Mhm.
in that octagon. It's so strong that I could feel the barrier being a woman, you know. I could feel like the dress that I wore in the video that you just saw, I wouldn't wear that into the octagon. You know, it would be a different feel. Presentation probably would be the same because I know that I have a strong voice. I'm half Polish, half Italian, and it works for me sometimes, and it doesn't for you know, other times, depending. It can get loud, but I would bring that voice into it. But it's kind of molding yourself to where you are and also your audience. So it's just interesting. It's very difficult to break through a barrier, and competitive. You know, I've been in situations where somebody would say to me, well, I got these other guy ring announcers, they've got more experience and they're in my ear and you don't have as much experience, blah, blah, blah. That's just total intimidation on their part. The guys are just afraid, you know, because you don't have to oversell yourself if you're confident in yourself. Your work can speak for itself. You don't have to be afraid of it. So I mean, we'll see what happens. It's evolutionary. We're not there yet. We are working on it, you know, and I'm not totally convinced that there have been many women that have stepped up to be in the ring. You know, I'm not. Again, I didn't think of it, and I'm a speaker. It's not like the do all end all that you hear people saying, "Oh, I want to be a ring announcer." So I'm not sure that we've had proper representation to really say, "Hey, give us a chance." You know, because you've got to have that. Hey, this girl can do it. This girl can do it. This girl, that girl, whatever can do it. I don't think we've had that yet. So I got to be fair to the guys with ring announcing that maybe they haven't been exposed to enough women that do want to be in the ring so that we can get the chance that we want. It's not all their fault. You know,
Yep.
we've got to start to step up and think outside of the box.
And I can kind of get that because it's like when wrestling would come on, my mom would be like, "Ugh, I don't want to watch wrestling again." So she'd walk away, you know. But on the other hand, like I said, I went to a lot of wrestling matches throughout my life, and I went to a lot of sporting events, and I think I've seen one female announcer, and that's it. Now I don't know if a lot of them had actually gone ahead and tried to apply for it and they were just denied because they were women, or like you said, they just didn't have the interest of it yet. So I don't know what the reason is, but that woman rocked it. She did a great job. And, you know, it's not, I couldn't tell the difference between the man doing the job or the female doing the job. The
Great.
only difference was the tone of voice. But a woman can set a passion that a man can't do, and a man can set a tone that a woman can't necessarily do. So it was a nice compliment to have both of them at the particular event, you know.
Mhm.
So I think it was fun. I think more women should try to get into these things, especially in some of these other jobs too that you just don't typically see people doing, like maybe gamers. You know, you don't see a lot of women technical gamers and stuff like that, or building video games, and I don't see why they couldn't do it.
Right. Yeah. And it's going to take those special women that bring a specific skill set, that have a specific interest to break some of those barriers. Like I said, I can't blame the guys all the time, you know?
Yeah.
If they've been involved in a world that's been mostly men and there aren't women stepping up, well, you know, well, they're not going to change their tune. But let's see what happens, you know, like a worthy candidate that can go up against them. Let's see what happens. Let's see what unfolds.
Yeah, I mean, if she can put it out there, she deserves to be in the ring for sure.
That's right. That's exactly
And if she can deal with the stuff in the back rooms too, definitely needs to be
even
in the
better.
ring. So let's talk about your books. You have some pretty cool books out there that you have to help people, inspire people and stuff. So tell me a little bit about them and what made you decide to sit down and write these books.
I have some audiobooks that are available in Apple Books right now, and it's everything from the motivation end of it, which is make a decision to win, which helps you develop a game plan to move forward with your life, get your goals, and plan time management wise how to achieve those goals. One of my most popular audiobooks is called Likeable You, which helps you build those long lasting relationships, which today is so important because we get behind the computer versus in front of people. And there are also some business books on sales and communication elements. And, you know, there is even one for relationships, like on online dating, how to put your best foot forward. So really everything from life and business. And I'm also a certified fitness trainer. So I have a DVD on Amazon called the Selfie Fitness Challenge, which helps people kind of get that heart rate up and gets the body moving. It's a full body workout where you can use weights at home. So there's a little bit of everything there for everybody, but the goal is personal and professional success, you know, feeling better about you and taking action with your own life.
Very cool. Well, we're just about out of time. It flew by. I can't
I
believe it's
know,
been
right?
like almost like 30 minutes to begin with. So I appreciate you coming on. How can people find you? I'm sure you got like social media. If you're a public speaker or, and a motivational speaker, you have social media.
Yeah.
So tell everybody where they can find your books. Tell everybody where they can find out you on social media and of course websites.
Yeah. My website is pretty simple. It's gailkasper.com, and Kasper's with a K. So it's GailKasper. From there, you can find my social media. Facebook, it's at Gail Kasper Fans. Twitter is at Gail Kasper Fans. And Instagram is at Gail Kasper. Um, I'm trying to think what else you might need to know. If you go to my website, you can find my books there too as well, where there are links to take you wherever you need to go.
Well, one more question before we go, and I'm going to probably put you on the spot here, and I'm sorry, but I want to, as a motivational speaker, you've probably seen people in different scenarios all over the world, what they've done, where they're at, different problems, different goals. What's the one thing, a piece of advice that you could give anybody that would work for anything, that would help them be a better person, or you continue on with what they want to do in life?
Number one, I would say is live by values. Because if we are focused on what's going on around us, meaning we've got family and friends that are influencing us, you should do this, you shouldn't do this, don't do that, then you've gotten so off track with what's part of you. If you live by values, you're operating by integrity, you respond to your friends, you're there for them, you're living the life that you're meant to live. If you're living by those values, then you're not going to be influenced by other people. If other people tell you to do something you shouldn't do, you're going to be like, no, 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 that's not going to work. Or you're going to be a leader in the situation and stand up for the right thing. As long as you operate by values, you're operating with clarity, you're operating with focus. As soon as you get off track of that and start listening to other people, you're lost. You don't know what to do. But that will take you ultimately to wherever you want to go.
Love that. And and with that, guys, unfortunately, we got to say goodbye for a little bit. I have to take a quick commercial break. I do have to pay bills. I hate bills, but we all have to pay them. So I will be back in about 2 minutes to close out the show. And don't go anywhere.
Like, OMG, you were on TV and junk.